that'll be? Th2, that's your emergency immunity. So right away the body's going to get there and it's going to start delivering antibodies. And so if you come across a flu through a Th1 naturally, okay, let's say you get a natural immunity. Let's say you come across the chicken pox, right? Okay, so we all got chicken pox when we were younger. So when you get a natural immunity, it has to go through the mucosa. Okay, it has to go through the nose. It has to go through the mouth. It has to go through the sinuses. That's the way the body's going to all of a sudden create an IgE response. It's going to create a lifelong immunity. Okay, so then we all got chicken pox, and when are we going to get them again? Never. Were we happy with chicken pox when we were younger? No. But are we happy now that we got them when we were younger? Because when is it dangerous for someone to get a chicken pox? When they're a child or when they're adult? Adult. Okay, so guess what we're doing with these children now? What does a vaccine do? Okay, a vaccine punctures your skin. Sounds more like a Th1 or a Th2. Okay, so now you're puncturing the skin and you're directly administering a virus into the body. Okay, so not to mention whatever else, we're going to talk about that. But so now let's say the only thing you're going to get, let's say, is the virus. So now what's the body got to do? It's got to develop what? Antibodies. Okay, so are your antibodies good or bad? They're good for the short term. Okay, your antibodies are good for the short term. However, what happens here, so what do the doctors do? Immediately, they do the vaccine, and then they check the antibodies. And of course, what are they going to find? Antibodies to this vaccine. So guess what? It seems it has worked, right? However, how long does this work? There's no way of telling. Okay, everyone's body's different, and so you have no idea how long your vaccine is going to last. So what you have to understand is, how long are your kids protected with this vaccine? And so now you have this vaccine, and where on earth or where on this planet do you come across the measles, the mumps, and rubella all at the same exact time into your bloodstream? Besides vaccination. So what does that sound? What's that going to do to the immune system? Does it sound like it's going to overload it? Measles, mumps, rubella, what are they telling us that's linked to? I mean, the measles, these kids are so overstimulated. Why? Is because they're being bombarded with this fake immunity. Okay, so you guys have to understand, if you keep teaching your body that this is the way you're going to fight something, the body all of a sudden does not know how to develop a long-term immunity, and all these antibodies floating around, what does it develop? It has linked to autoimmune diseases. So what's an autoimmune disease? Do you guys know what an autoimmune disease is? It's when your body does not recognize something foreign to something that's its own. Okay, so then what it does is the body starts attacking itself. So what's a common autoimmune disease? HIV, kind of no, diabetes, no. I'm thinking more of rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia. I'm thinking about ALS. I'm thinking about MS. I'm thinking about Alzheimer's disease. These are all autoimmune diseases. This is the body's attacking itself. Okay, so do we want those? No. So do you think that a flu or a bacteria or these viruses are on this earth by accident, or do you think they're here to serve a purpose? Who created this? Well, when we go into the swine flus and stuff like this, but I'm talking like a cold virus. For instance, I'm a little stuffy right now, I have a cold. So is this good or bad that I have a cold? It doesn't feel very good, but trust me, I'm never going to have this cold again because my body's creating an immunity, which is going to create an immunity for how long? The rest of my life. I will never get this cold again. And now I'm flexing my immune system muscles. And guess what? My chance of cancer later in life is going to be decreased. Do you guys understand that? So you have to understand that as long as my body's working the way it should, it doesn't feel good to get these things, but my body's going to create an immune system and it's going to use it for later in life so I don't get these things later in life. Okay? So we got to understand that. Do you guys kind of understand the Th1 versus the Th2 response? Because that's why, okay, you got your kids vaccinated, now they have an immune system, or they got antibodies floating around. How long is it going to last? They have no idea, so now they're going to keep vaccinating your children, keep vaccinating until when? Because they're not going to keep vaccinating all the way through the rest of your life. They cut them off right around the college level, and guess how much immune system or how much immunity they have after that? None. So now what? They're susceptible to every childhood illness which they should have gotten in the first place. Okay? So, what's in a flu shot? Okay? So, first off, do you guys understand that that virus that's in that vial has to be grown on something? Okay? They have to grow it because it is a live virus. And so they grow it on what? Sometimes chicken eggs. They grow it on aborted fetus tissue. Okay? I bet you guys didn't know this. So they have to grow these things on a medium, okay? And so here's ethylene glycol that's in there. Why? Antifreeze. Phenol, also known as carbolytic acid. This is used as a disinfectant, a dye. Formaldehyde, a guaranteed cancer-causing agent. Aluminum, which is associated with Alzheimer's disease and seizures, also cancer-producing in laboratory in mice. I mean, are these things good for you? Thimerosal, it's 48% mercury. Okay, so they're like, well, we took the mercury out of vaccines. Listen, thimerosal is 48% mercury. Thimerosal is a mercury derivative. They need all these things to preserve the shot, to preserve the virus. So these things are in there to activate the immune system. So if you put aluminum in this, it will activate the antibody response. So that's what they're looking for. Is aluminum good in your body? Is formaldehyde good in your body? I mean, you go through all this. There's detergent as a preservative. I mean, we can go on and on. Here's more. Squalene is an adjuvant. Causes the immune system to go into hyperactivity. I mean, unfortunately, the immune system, it ends up attacking itself. That's what happens. You start getting autoimmune diseases. And so the smallpox vaccine, I mean, this was the last time they're putting in there, and this is what they're going to put in the swine flu when it was in the smallpox vaccine. Ended up causing Gulf War syndrome. And so, I mean, we can go on and on and on. So let's just talk about what happened back, because there was a... Did you guys know this swine flu isn't brand new? Did you guys know for those of you who were alive back in 1976, do you remember the swine flu pandemic that was going around? No? Okay. So, yes, some of you know, some of you yes. So, I mean, just to let you know, the side effects of all these things, of all the vaccines, Guillain-Barré syndrome, soreness, fever, illnesses, anaphylactic shock, weakened immune system, 5 consecutive flu shots gives you a 1,000% increase in developing Alzheimer's disease, MS, ALS. So you guys think about this. I remember, I used to work in a company, they brought the flu shot there for me, and I'm like, what a great thing they can do for me. I mean, it's free. I can make sure I'm not going to get the flu. This is amazing, right? I mean, you're going to protect yourself, you get the flu symptom. Well, guess what happens? You start getting these flu shots every single year, not to mention there's 25 micrograms of mercury in every flu shot. So what does mercury do to your immune system? I mean, if we broke a thermometer in here, guess what? We got to call HAZMAT to get in here and clean it up. There's 25 micrograms of mercury. That's over 1,000 times more than the CDC would ever recommend in anyone's bloodstream in one flu shot. And this is what they're trying to give us. They don't tell you that. No. And so when you ask the people that are administering the flu shots, because I like to go up to the mall and I like to go up to them and ask them, because they're now in your airports, they're everywhere. So do you know how much mercury is in those flu shots? They're like, mercury? Why would mercury be in here? And they look at the vial. Oh, there's 25 micrograms of mercury in here. Which they don't even know what that means. But for those of us who study it, they say this stuff is severely toxic to your body. Not to mention, is that the type of immunity you want anyways? So there's 1,000 strains of the flu. Guess what? They put 3 strains in the flu shot. 3. So guess what? Do they have any idea what? They're guessing to know what strain is going to hit this year. Do you guys understand? They're guessing. So last year, the swine or the flu vaccine didn't even cover the strain that was going around. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And so here's the swine flu debacle of 1976. So What happened back in 1976? Mass immunization was